When I think about content creation, this is what comes to mind, at least to me. So this is content creation is in the 60s. Okay, Mad Men. If you've watched the series, you know what I'm talking about. Today, content creation and content creators look like this, or at least this is what I think. So it's a completely different story. It's a completely different story. Technology has entered this sector in a quite a um, forceful way. And again, I have people joining in, so yeah, my attention is not great at the moment, but I'll try to do my best to keep myself focused. So I think it's very important for me to understand what content creation is. Again, I'm not a content creator. So the first thing that I do when I don't know something, I just go to um, Wikipedia and I just ask. So content creation is a process for generating topic ideas that appeal to buyer personas. Okay, and this is fair enough. I think the more interesting part of the definition comes in this slide because you can create written content, you can create visual content, but it's all about these ideas that are at the core of each content creation activity. And finally, um, final piece is that you can create the amazing content, but if you don't distribute it, if you don't make it accessible to your audience, yeah, you don't create any value for anybody. So, but at this stage, I'm an engineer. At this stage, I'm convinced, fully convinced that what we're looking at is a process. Okay, and I believe that one way to look at this process is the following. So, uh, a process that has 5 different steps. The first one is the research. The second one is the ideation and planning. And then there is obviously the creation and distribution. Well, it is not surprising that the final step is the analysis. So how do we understand if the content that we're creating resonates with our audience? We measure, we test, and we keep going. By iterating in this life cycle, we are able to always improve and always create better content. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about this part here, the creation and optimization. So number 3, I'm not going to talk about number 1, number 2, number 5, and number 4. Okay, so we're going to focus about number 3, and we're going to try to understand what machine learning can do to help creators in this crucial step of the workflow. Just one fun fact here. So this guy on the left, on the right is Pablo Picasso, genius, painter, um, creator, the master creator. And in his life, he produced roughly 150,000 pieces of art. And if you break them down, you discover that, yeah, 100,000 were prints and engravings, but 34,000 were illustrations, and about 14,000 paintings and sculptures. So if you do the math, let's say that you get rid of the 100,000 prints and engravings, a little bit of cheating because with the prints and the engravings you can multiply. You can scale up very quickly. So let's forget about this. You still have an average of 1.7 pieces of art every day. Okay, this is not very shocking. For me, what is really shocking is the fact that Picasso did this for 78 years every day. Okay, and if he was missing one day, the day after, he would have had to create 3 pieces of art. So this is incredible. And the reason why I grabbed your attention on this fact is that we are looking at a process, a creative process that enabled Pablo Picasso to create so much in his lifetime. Okay. And I think I forgot to give a warm welcome to the Erasmus students that are joining from Malta, Regensburg, Italy, Netherlands, Greece, and Bulgaria. Sorry, I should have mentioned it at the beginning. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that here you find my Twitter handle. So if you want to connect with me, if you want to interact with me, you can do that. And I will address your questions or comments later on. So it's Luca Marchesotti at Twitter. let's get back into it. So we were saying that if content creation is a process, guess what? I'm going to give you now the machine learning perspective. I don't know how many of you guys know the person on the right. This guy is Yann LeCun. And I know you professor is one of the fathers of deep learning. This guy really changed this field, revolutionized this field with an invention called deep learning. And everything that you will see here today essentially is has originated from this deep learning revolution. Okay, so what is the machine
All right.
learning perspective?
I'm actually on a call. And Rosh left these for you.
Okay, I have to mute everybody because
How's your talk this morning go?
somebody is mute all. Okay. So now you're all muted. Okay, all muted. So let's get back into it. I was saying that if content creation is a process, well, we have good news for you guys. If it is a process, an algorithm can learn it, okay? So let me qualify what I'm talking about here. Machine learning is a set of algorithms, right? So with an algorithm, I can learn a process and I can also learn a creative process to some extent, and with one big caveat. To learn it, I need a lot of data. So I need to have a lot of data to create an algorithm that is good enough at creating content. Just a quick recap for the one of you who never encountered a definition deep learning. I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes discussing about it, telling you a little bit more about what this is. So deep learning is a class of algorithms. So it's a type of algorithm in the family, actually a super powerful class of algorithm in the family of machine learning. So machine learning, think about machine learning as, I don't know, Asian cuisine, okay? And artificial intelligence is the ensemble, the group of all the cuisines in the world, okay? So it's a big umbrella term where we have different, let's say different variants of techniques. And broadly speaking, artificial intelligence is a discipline within computer science. Now, if we look at an example of deep learning, we should think about a pipeline of steps. A pipeline of steps that has an input, as every pipeline, and an output. We could think about this as a pipeline of steps, a workflow, or a process. But the important thing is that we give to this process an input, for instance, an image, and we get an output. In this case, it's the, let's say, a label that describes the object in the image. Now, the interesting thing is what's happening in the middle. So what are these blocks? Well, for the moment, you have to, you have to trust me. What's happening there is truly magic. So the computer or the algorithm progressively learns at each step what makes a car different from a bicycle, okay? And these are, and the algorithm does this with what we call intermediate representations. So these strange images that you see at the bottom are the features. So the intermediate representations that enable an algorithm shown with this image here on the right on the left, to come up with a label on the right that corresponds to the reality depicted here. Fair enough? So a quick recap. We learned that an algorithm is a set of steps. We understood that the deep learning is a long set of steps, but at the end of the day, it's always the same story, right? So we are showing to an algorithm examples of animals in this case, and we show example of animals with the right labels. So these are two different examples of a dog. This is not a dog, and this is certainly not a dog, okay? So we show all these examples to the algorithm, and we build what we call a model, okay? So why it's so important to understand this point? Why it's so important to understand that what we are doing here when we are training a machine learning model is to create a model. Because with this model, we can do amazing things, okay? The simplest thing is to take this model, show the model examples, and get answers. We get these answers in a fully automated and programmatic way, which means that we can create a pipeline that takes a lot of these images, and we get a lot of answers on what these images contains. Is this the end of the story? Actually not. This is the beginning of the story, because this is the simplest algorithm that you can imagine when an image is in the loop. What you will see today is deep learning on steroids. We're going to see what deep learning can do, not only to label examples, not only to do these simple, relatively simple tasks, such as understanding what's in an image, but creating content from scratch. So let's see how it works. First of all, I would like to show you this picture, okay? And I'm not sure how to do this, but let's say that I am asking you guys the following question. Please pick the image, either left or right, and pick the image of the person that doesn't exist. So one of these images shows the face, the portrait of a person that doesn't exist. It's artificially made. So your question, your task is to guess which one is it? Is it left or is it right? And you can maybe write on the chat if you want. So I'll give you a couple of seconds. Come on. Let's see. Okay, Sandra, right. Okay, the right seems to be the answer. So let's have a look. Yes. So on the left, you see the image that is real, and the right is the fake. Let's try again. Okay, let's try again. Any ideas? Okay, you're getting very good at this game. So this is the right answer. This person exists, the other one doesn't exist. Last example. Now you're trained. Here it's a little bit more complicated. I see some right, some left, so there is no consensus. And this is kind of a scary news, right? Because if a human cannot understand what is real and what is not real, then we are in trouble. Or we have an opportunity to, create content at scale. And by the way, the answer was the one that you see circled in green. So this is the person that exists. This person doesn't exist. Okay, when I saw these examples, I was very confused, to be honest, very, very confused. So the point that I'm trying to make here is the following. If you go back in 2014, this is what we could do with deep learning and actually with computer vision applied to deep learning. Not a great job, but look at this, 2015, 2016, and 2017. And now we're in 2021, okay? So there is, I think, a substantial improvement in the photorealism, in the quality of the image, every aspect. You see this picture, I mean, this person doesn't exist. It looks very real, doesn't it? Okay, let's move forward. I would like to stop here 1 second, actually. Any questions or comments? Any reactions? You can type questions and I will address them. Come on, guys, give me something. Give me something. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you this video. Okay, you might have seen it already. Okay, face swap. This is a deep fake, right? Very impressive. So no questions, no comments, no observations. Okay,
Sorry, look, I have a question. So there does exist technology to identify deep fakes, but I suppose my question is, how sophisticated is that technology, and is it being used out there? I know the guy who won the Young Scientist exhibition this year, he developed some new code for identifying deep fakes.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Dara. Yes, there is the chicken and egg problem. So it's like the forger and the police problem. Like, the forger tries to make fake money and the police tries to catch them. And this is exactly the same paradigm. There are techniques to spot deep fakes. There are challenges. And guess what? Facebook is very interested in putting their hands on this technology because they can't solve this problem. And it's becoming a real issue for them. At the moment, both teams, Team Forger and Team Police, are advancing with their own inventions and development, and the race is still open. So there are other questions here that I would like to address. John, how important is the data quality as the input? Yeah, it's, data quality is very important, but I feel like it's even more important the quantity of the data. What motivated fakes? Gerald, I really don't know what motivated. I think it's the old sad story. And I know it very well. There are engineers creating technologies, and they don't know why. They just think it's cool, and they do it. And then there are social and ethical implications, and there is no adult in the room, taking decisions on whether or not, a specific research field should be pursued or others abandoned. So we are really in the Wild West when it comes to AI and machine learning. And I think that now regulators are stepping in, and we will see more control and more policing on these kind of issues. Another question for Brian, was this the technology used in The Irishman? Absolutely, you are totally correct, Brian. And Ala says, that she was very surprised by the pictures that we were seeing before. Any other questions before we keep going? Because we are just at the beginning. I have a lot more to share. Okay, how can a beginner start to use machine learning? Ayaz, I'm gonna give you a hint, and it's coming up in, I would think, in 20 slides, so stay tuned. Okay, so if no other questions are there, let's move forward. And this is the second part of this presentation. The second part of the presentation is about live demos. So we're gonna use this technology before understanding, how it is made. We're gonna use it, and it's gonna be about text. It's gonna be about, we're gonna look at images, and we're gonna be looking also at video content. So these are three tools that you can use yourself today if you want, if you have time. I'll give you all the references in the deck, at the end of the deck. And these are all free tools. So you can really try them, and you don't need a credit card. So three different typologies of media, but one technology to rule them all. This technology is generative deep learning. Let's start from the first one, assisted copy creation. So what I'm gonna do now is let's say that I'm in the process of a rebranding, okay? And let's say that I'm working with my copywriter or my brand strategist, and she came up with an excellent title for landing page. And this title is Solution Fueled by the Power of Machine Learning, okay? The product or the solution that I'm offering here is this: for forward-thinking businesses, I'm reading, Beautify is the data-driven machine learning phenomenon that brings you a tailor-made solution, end-to-end support, and education that you need to keep its operation smooth and its impact transformative. Beautiful, isn't it? I didn't write it. My copywriter wrote it. She's awesome. Now, this is the input of copy.ai, okay? So this is the first message that I want to share with you. You can't think that copy.ai or the machine learning, you can't think that you will get this kind of product or output from scratch. You need to give to the machine, as we said before, something at the beginning. The better this input is, the better the output. Does it make any sense? So garbage in, garbage out. Good content in, good content out. So how does it work? This is pretty incredible, actually. So let's say that I go to copy.ai and I want to create content using this format, pain, agitate, solution. I create my product or brand name. I create my product description. So I'm just copy and pasting what Jennifer did for me a couple of months ago. And then I click the magic button, create. So let's see what happens. So at the moment, the algorithm is crunching data, and these are the outputs. Okay, let's read them together. Pain. Forward-thinking businesses are grasping at every AI data-driven tool they can to save time, money, and effort. Pretty accurate, actually. Agitate. However, not all business-driven machine learning solutions are created equal. That's why you are on this page. Wow, I like it. Solution. Beautify is data-driven in a way that no other solution is. Differentiation, I like it very much. Its secret weapon is the power of artificial intelligence. I want this in my landing page, okay? So just a couple of things. Number one, Jennifer didn't write this stuff, okay? We just shoveled it into copy.ai. Number two, if you look at this, I have, a lot of variety here because I have, multiple copies around the same concept. So what can I do with this? Well, I can obviously copy them. I can like them, okay? And make more of the same. So I keep iterating and I can create more content on demand. I stop 1 second. I let you ask questions, comments, reactions. What do you think about this technology? So this is just one thing that you can do. You can write copies, but you could also create blog ideas. You could create Facebook posts, LinkedIn ads, and so on. There is one comment, actually 2 questions. Is the process here similar to Grammarly? Similar to Grammarly? Kind of, but this is much more advanced because here we are creating, let's say, brand new copies. And then Edel, can it measure emotions? I don't think so, but I think you can customize the tone of voice. So you can have an inference, or you can, let's say, change the tone of voice and make it more adapted to your final marketing goal. Any more questions or comments before? Yeah, Derry? You're muted.
No, sorry. So say if your competitor was to use this tool and they were to put in a similar description for their business, would they get the same suggestions, or is it possible that all the content that becomes very kind of the samey, if you know what I mean? If everyone is using these kinds of tools?
That's a very good question. The reality is that if you are putting exactly the same combination of words, mm-hmm. you will get the same copies, the same results here. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if you are altering a few words, you will get something novel and something completely new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move to this. Is this free? Sandra, there is a 7 days free trial, and then it's $30 a month, almost free. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, Ayaz, this is your recommendation. Do you want to play with this technology? Do you want to start from scratch? Well, this is your starting point. You go to OpenAI and you experiment with their APIs and with their technology free of charge, okay? And you don't need to be a coder. So I strongly recommend you to do that, or at least to open an account on copy.ai and try to play with it. Try to understand what the limitations are, what the opportunities are, and so on. Okay? Any more questions before we look at the next example? Can we set up on Google Colab, Brian? Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can, once you have a token with OpenAI, you can set up a Google Colab and you can use OpenAI from there. Any more questions, comments, guys? Can we move to the second one? I think so. Okay, so second one is about images. And to be honest, I've been in this field for 20 years. When I saw this, and this was January 21, this really blew my mind. Okay, so another demo. Okay, so let's say that I want to create an image now. I don't want to generate text. I want to generate images starting from text. Okay, how can I do that? So let's say, for argument's sake, that I want to create images of an armchair in the shape of an avocado. Okay, weird. DALL-E, which is a generative model, would create from scratch these images. Images that, once again, do not exist. So these products do not exist, okay? They have never been created by any designer on the planet. Now, where it becomes really cool is that I can change the parameters. So let's say that I want an armchair in the shape of a pig. Okay, I get my armchair and I see some pigness around. Let's say that I want a clock now. You got the point, right? It's not perfect. It's not perfect, especially when it comes to digits, but it is really impressive. Let's keep playing for another minute or two. Letter purse, Pikachu. Wow. So again, all these images created from scratch. Another example, an illustration of a baby daikon radish in a tutu walking a dog. Okay, so these are the kind of examples that you get. Any reactions? While I'm playing, any questions that you would like to ask? You can create millions, if not more, of these examples automatically. Nikhil, can we create ad copies from this platform, and can we analyze the sentiment of target audience? You absolutely can, and that's the part which is more interesting. So you can create a virtuous loop whereby you measure sentiment and you target the message in a fully automatic way. Any more questions? Okay, so this is can the images be edited? Damien, Good question. I don't know. I think that you take them as they are. These are JPEGs. Then you can edit on them on their own, but they are flat JPEGs, so it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Again, here my message is play with this, because this is not the future. This is the now. You can imagine in 5 years' time where we're going to be. And here we're talking about, yes, great opportunities for hyper-customized ads, fast prototyping, product design. Let's now look at the final example. And this is the most complicated type of data, which is videos. Why video is complicated? Because it's visual content over time. So I prepared a video for you, and then I'll tell you how I created it. Okay, so let's say that I want to welcome you on this event by saying, hi students of TUD, thanks for joining us here at Beautify. We're here today to explore the future of content generation and its coexistence with AI. Want to recap? Slides will be shared in the comments, okay? Let's say that I want to animate this message with a realistic character that looks professional. So what do? I go here, I create a sample video, I copy my script, I continue, I fill the form, and then they will send me an email with this video. Now the video, I'm gonna play it, you're gonna look at it and listen to this person talking to you, and then you're gonna tell me what you think about it. Just 1 second. I have to share my audio. So give me a second. Share sound. You should be able to hear it. If you don't, please let me know.
Hi, students of TUD. Thanks for joining us here at Beautify today to explore the future of content generation and its coexistence with AI. Want to recap? Slides will be shared in the comments.
Okay, now, any reactions, any comments, any observations about this automatically generated video?
I was looking at Synthesia the other day, actually. And,
Hi, students of TUD.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
It was great, and they used a Just Eat ad, and they changed it for the Australian market, and they because Just Eat is known as menu log or something in Australia, so they took the Snoop Doggy Dog video or ad and just completely, seamlessly changed the ad to feature menu log instead of Just Eat. And I suppose in terms of, it was just, I was mind blown by it really. When I saw the finished product and the difference between the two, I couldn't tell that the original ad was Just Eat, only for the fact that I had read it. So it's kind of a bit uncanny really, but I can see as well how businesses could use like this for like customer care and kind of tailoring customer care for different markets or different accents and things like that. They can probably use it for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, you're touching on a very sensitive point, which is the balance between, how can I say, effectiveness and the level of creepiness. Because as Gerald was mentioning, yeah, the mouth movement is kind of mechanical. Edel also has some doubts. This looks too real to be real, if you know what I'm talking about. And from a marketing perspective, I'm sending a prospect a customized video like this. Does it really reach the goal, the marketing goal that I have in mind, or not, or makes more damage than good? Another example of what I call creepy AI, okay, It's this. Okay. Okay, deep master manager. I don't know if you saw it. It was viral, I think, a couple of weeks ago in the mainstream social media. So what these guys do is they take the pictures of your grandfather and grandmother, they animate it, and they make them smile. And I don't like this. And I don't like it because these people are obviously dead. They were, I mean, maybe you have an emotional attachment with these people, and I don't know. You play with emotion in a very, yeah, manipulative, in a very manipulative way, in my opinion, obviously. So let's go back to our slide with the final part of the slide. And need to mute. Okay. So this is the final part of the slide where I share my recommendations. And again, I'm not a content creator, but I still would like to, give my perspective. So the first recommendation is embrace automation, something that you might have already done, okay? Because it's a wave, it's a big wave. So ride it, don't resist it, because it's just the first one, or maybe, the second. There are other waves coming, and they're going to be bigger and bigger. So you will need to learn how to, to take advantage of them. Otherwise, we all risk to be quoted in the future in a slide deck, like this guy here, William Priest, British Post Office, 1876. The Americans have need of the telephone, but we do not. We have plenty of messenger boys. Or 1903, the horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty, a fad. Okay, I'm putting these slides here because it's, when you are in it, it's really hard to understand that, a whole sector is being disrupted or transformed, or that a specific type of jobs are changing. It's really, really hard to recognize it. But I'm sure that everybody here understands that there is something going on here in content creation. So the second thing is, again, this is Pablo Picasso: good artists copy, great artists steal. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that, let me take my canvas. Couple of seconds. Patience. Okay, we have seen that content creation is a process. We have the algorithm. We have the content creator to place. We have the audience or the audiences, right? And then the algorithm is part of a much bigger workflow where we have ideation, we have creation, we have distribution, and then we measure. and we start again. Okay, so we have to place the algorithm and the audience. The audience is obviously at the end of the funnel. So here. So where do we put the algorithm? Well, we could place it in here and also in there. So we could create and distribute, and then put another algorithm in the measuring part or in the measuring block. So where is the human? So the human is still badly needed for ideation. It's needed to interact with the algorithm. So in my vision, the human becomes a filter. So if you have an algorithm, the algorithm gives to the human, as we saw, infinite variety of examples. The human picks the best. This is one way to do it. A second way to do it is to say every algorithm is an artist. Okay, let's treat that algorithm as such. Let me give you an example of somebody, actually an artist, who takes an algorithm and uses it as a source of novel pieces of art. This guy is Kevin Bosch, world-renowned photographer, Irish-born, very famous for his collections on faces. He had a collection on Dublin Airport, featured there for I think 2 or 3 years. So what he does is he takes machine learning or deep learning algorithms, tweaks them, stress tests them, and creates novel things like these pieces of art here, taken from his website that I encourage you to visit. So what he does is he uses the algorithm that becomes the bicycle of his mind. It's not about mere creation or mere replication. It's about as an interaction that creates novelty and value. We're getting towards the end. Final recommendation, create your own workflow. As I was mentioning before, there are a ton of different ways to interact with these algorithms with tools like OpenAI, tools like copy.ai. What I suggest is that you experiment with them and then you come up with your way to work with the algorithm. And that's your unique value proposition as a content creator. Finally, and I will stop here, fill the gaps. What does it mean? There's a lot of limitations when it comes to auto-generated content. You might say that they're lacking personality, emotion, consistency. Well, it's your responsibility as a content creator to fill those gaps. And also take advantage of the opportunity, speed, scale, control. You can really create content much faster than before, and the use cases are many. So the sky here is the limit.